Shulk is a very fundamental base character, having amazing range and huge lingering disjoints. He's an incredible zoner, mid-stage holder, ledge trapper, and edgeguarder. However, because he has to rely on solid but slow and risky out-of-shield options, having no quick aerials whatsoever, and a poor boxing game, he has a really hard time dealing with constant shield pressure and short hop coverage. He's got a solid but potentially exploitable recovery if his options are exhausted. But with the sheer amount of tools and tech that he has, his survivability can be outstanding. He's not really that dependent on advanced tech, but can use them to break the rules of the game and deal with situations in his own way. Focus on the tech too much, however, and your general focus might shift from constantly playing against what your opponent is doing to focusing on yourself, which could work against you if you complicate it for no reason. Theoretically, vanilla Shulk can still beat a Shulk who is very tech and art heavy, as it all comes down to your fundamentals and how you hold the middle stage. This is why it's so important to learn how to fundamentally use Shulk's basic kit first. Then understand how it feels to play him with 3 additional kinds of mobility changers, and then start adding arts and tech to adapt to specific situations in certain matchups. Elevate his neutral and advantage state, make his disadvantage more manageable, and so on. At which point, it's up to you if you want to have a well-constructed plan of always using an art strategically depending on percent and situation to be flexible, or if you want to play vanilla Shulk and use a few arts and tech in a few situations. Vanilla Shulk is relatively heavy and is very balanced and straightforward. Jump art is one of his most beneficial art. Activated, and his aerial mobility becomes incredible. Damage stays the same, however his defense lowers, meaning he receives more damage. Launch power stays the same, but his fall speed and gravity increases, meaning he now becomes much easier to juggle and becomes much more susceptible to certain kill confirms. One benefit though is that even though he might take more damage during his disadvantage, he also has a guaranteed escape if he saves his double jump for just the right moment, as well as he can mix up with a much faster fast fall into tech. Could also allow him to avoid certain low percent combos. Ground mobility stays the same, but his jump forces doubles. His airspeed and air acceleration also increases, making his recovery and ledge game much better, as he can find his way around and into the middle stage much easier, especially since his ledge jump is also much better. He can also double jump and reach the smashville platform from the ledge. This also elevates his combo potential, as well as it allows him to cross up his opponents in many more ways because of the increased mobility. Unless he overextends and is predictable, spacing with jump activated is extremely safe and might frustrate the opponent to overextend, as finding an opening might seem impossible sometimes. This art can also increase Shulk's chance at survival, as he can completely stall out the opponent until his shield art is active again. Speed is another amazing art to start with. It will boost Shulk's ground mobility, air acceleration, and his airspeed, making him incredible at whiff punishing and catching landings. He does deal 20% less damage though, which will indirectly affect his knockback very slightly. His run is second fastest in the game, second to Sonic. His walk speed is the fastest in the game, and his perfect pivot becomes way too good, being able to space an aerial and perfect pivot enough to be untouchable and possibly find a whiff punish or an anti-air. His pivot grab becomes unpunishable as well, as he will pass through opponents. It'll make crossing up way easier and will also increase his combo potential. Ledge trapping can also become easier, as he can now stand further away to whiff punish or let the opponent ledge jump to anti-air or recover a landing. It also allows you to avoid corner pressure by quickly running under and through opponents trying to space you out. Speed will also increase his ground friction by 50%, making it easier to find grabs out of shield. Shield art can be extremely tricky to play against. It reduces your damage by 30% as well as reducing damage received by 33%. Stack this indirect influence with actually reducing knockback received by 22%, and Shulk has the best survivability in the game. Even bonus effects like stun and bury are diminished in play. It improves his shield from 50 to 75 HP, as well as faster shield regeneration. This also lowers his hit stun, even by moves that have set knockback, meaning he can be extremely frustrating to try comboing, as lowering his hit stun means that he can air dodge and double jump sooner than anybody else, as well as air slash or use vision to combo break even sooner. This art will heavily slow him down, making him the slowest moving character in the game, meaning you're able to work around him pretty easily. However, get too careless and he might throw out a quick dash attack, air slash out of shield, or just grab you and gain stage control. This art is a bit more of a support art, rewarding the defensive, more observant, and patient playstyle, allowing you to potentially slow down the pace of the game and take a step back to breathe. Use this in combination with jump to stay evasive and maximize your survivability. Buster and Smash are the only two arts that won't affect Shulk's mobility. Instead, this art will increase your damage by 40% and the damage you take by 13%, which means you might die slightly earlier, at the same time as your launch power decreases by 32%, elevating his combo potential. The increase of damage also makes him much safer in neutral, as his shield stun and shield damage elevates as well. Smash can be extremely scary to play against. However, it gives you only one buff: increased knockback, 13% to be more precise. In exchange, you sacrifice 50% of your damage output, making you much less safe in the neutral against shield. You also receive 7% more knockback taken yourself, and so this art shouldn't be used in the neutral so much, but much more in an advantageous state at higher percent. It also makes his edgeguarding game much stronger. An art will activate after 46 frames after the last special input, and will stay active for 16 seconds. You can deactivate it by holding the B button, or by tapping it quickly 3 times. As soon as you deactivate it, it takes it 10 seconds to recharge. Once you are cycling the arts, you can also start moving however you want. During art cycling, no other special inputs can be registered until an art is selected. Also keep in mind that there is also a 5-frame activation pose that you also need to wait out. You can turn yourself around during an art activation if you just hold the other direction before it activates, as well as perform a B reverse with a directional input shortly after the art activates. Wave bouncing arts simply combines the turnaround input with the B reverse. Effective art deactivation is very difficult to master, but can be extremely helpful in many situations. By pressing B 3 times really fast during Shulk's combo game, you can connect a Buster neutral air into a vanilla forward smash and optimize his advantage state. In disadvantage, you can press B 3 times really fast upon taking hit stun to get rid of an art to basically take away the debuff of the art. If you have enough time and you aren't stuck in the opponent's grab animation, then you can possibly change into an art that will benefit you more as you're about to enter the disadvantage state. Air Slash has incredible range and is really good out of shield. It's decent after something hits the shield to punish cross-ups or spaced aerials that don't auto-cancel because of the range, but it's especially good out of shield before something hits the shield, as it can also anti-air because of the range. It's amazing at edgeguarding and punishing recoveries if you reverse it while holding down the analog stick. At this point, it's important to remember to buffer the second slash with grab, as if you buffer it with attack or special and it gets interrupted, you might be buffering something that puts you in a disadvantage after, rather than an air dodge from pressing grab. There are many mix-ups to recovering, especially since if you delay the second swing, not only will you increase the range of the recovery, but you also cover yourself with a long hitbox. Even better though is snapping onto the ledge, which can be done in 2 ways. By pressing up B close to the ledge, or by going for a low recovery and buffering the second slash right on the ledge so he snaps onto it. This obviously prevents Shulk's head from peeking up, making it much safer in general. Besides this, you can use it in combination with speed to combo, or jump to combo as well. Vision is Shulk's counter. The active counter window becomes shorter with each attempt, from lasting for over half a second to only 5 frames. This will regenerate over time or reset if Shulk dies. When an opponent activates Vision, they will suffer a slowdown, unless the counter was triggered by a projectile. There are 2 variations: a slow version that sends the opponent forwards from Shulk, which could potentially be dodged if you hit the counter with a low lag move just as you land, and a stronger, faster version which sends the opponent behind Shulk, which is done by holding towards the opponent just as you counter. Backslash is purely a mix-up tool, and for hard punishing opponents back, as it's not very effective against opponents facing you. It's unsafe on block unless you space it very well with Buster against an opponent's back, in which case it deals massive shield damage and can break it very easily. It's used to punish 50-50 situations for the opponent's air dodge after an up throw or up tilt, and you can punish their back. It's really good for punishing ledge rolls, especially after an attempted ledge trump. Except for this, it's also used as a very rare landing mix-up and for potentially punishing opponents double jumping to grab the ledge. Shulk's neutral usually starts with his aerials, the main ones being spaced neutral air, forward air, and back air. Most of Shulk's moves have a slight sweet spot at the base of the Monado compared to the beam, the main exception being neutral air, which is opposite. Down tilt is also a part of his neutral, being good for safely pressuring and poking. Otherwise, his jab and tilts are to follow up on the aerials depending on the opponent's decision making. Or you can space another aerial or tomahawk grab. By holding middle stage away from the opponent through spacing, you will eventually force cornered opponents into jumping or rolling, as punishing isn't possible. Staying at the corner against Shulk can be extremely suffocating, and you will need to find the middle stage against him. However, at the same time, Shulk has extremely huge and lingering disjoints to keep punishing opponents for the way they try claiming the middle stage. This corner pressure will of course get even more elevated with Buster. Now besides mid-stage control, he is also amazing at ledge trapping, as neutral air and forward air covers ledge stall, ledge jump, and double jumping back in very well, which are the most important options to cover, as regular get up attack, or roll can be reacted to or spaced out. The fact that you can cover ledge stall with an aerial means that you will force the opponent into never really stalling against you, especially if you know the timing of when the ledge invincibility is about to run out. This means that you will have an easier time knowing when a ledge option is about to be pressed, and will have an easier time knowing when to preemptively cover a ledge jump. Forward air is Shulk's primary spacing tool, and his fastest aerial against opponents in front of him. It's amazing at punishing short hops and full hops. It can lead to tech situations at low percentage and will lead into combos if you can drift towards the opponent as you hit the move. However, most of the time, since you are spacing the move, it will only give you stage control rather than a true combo. Neutral air is Shulk's fastest spacing tool against opponents behind him, making it really good at punishing rolls in. It's safe if spaced or if you cross it up most of the time. This move covers a ton of space and is amazing at juggling, as it can also frame trap. It'll also completely deny opponents who dare to double jump back into the stage against Shulk in disadvantage. If landed on a grounded opponent, neutral air can combo into almost any move in Shulk's kit, and depending on percent and which art is activated, it can mean a lot of damage or a kill confirm. It also finds its use in edgeguarding, as it can serve as a wall to recovering opponents. Back air's hitbox is huge, and is extremely effective at ledge trapping, especially with Buster, as it will either shield break if they tank 2 hits, and more than likely shield poke. The hitbox actually starts in front of Shulk, and then starts reaching out really far behind him, so if the opponent tries rolling in behind it, they will get punished, meaning they will usually be forced to jump or counter. The jump can of course be covered by an up tilt, forward air, neutral air, or by punishing a landing towards the middle stage. Back air is also amazing at covering techs, as it can potentially cover tech in place, tech away, and possibly even tech towards. Up air is long ranged and quite strong. It can combo into itself and kills pretty early. It makes for amazing platform pressure, especially with Buster, as it can easily allow a shield poke or a shield break. Except for this, it can set up for some crazy footstool setups. More on this later. Down air is mostly used offstage, to try punishing an air dodge and spike. Jab is Shulk's fastest option and can be used to get the opponent off of you, and punish spot dodges. It doesn't give much reward, but can be enough to gain stage control. The reward, however, can be more beneficial while in speed art or jump art. Forward tilt is a lower commitment smash attack to punish opponents. It's unsafe against shield, but can potentially be safer if used with a pivot or in buster. Up tilt is an amazing anti-air with incredible range. Use it with jump and you can either true combo after up tilt or find a 50-50. Hit them with the tip of the move and you'll launch them up and behind you, meaning they will be turned around, allowing you to pressure with aerials and follow up with a potential backslash. Dash attack is mostly used for punishing landings and whiff punishing. The distance he travels during his dash attack is the same no matter what art he's using. Forward smash is for hard punishing opponents. It's his fastest smash attack, dealing the most amount of damage overall. Angling the move upwards not only increases the activity by 1 frame for the first hit, but also increases the knockback growth for the second hit, causing the move to kill earlier off the sides. Angling the move downwards does not increase the knockback growth, but does last 1 frame longer as well, and can hit careless opponents on the ledge with no invincibility. Up smash is extremely strong and becomes one of the most powerful smash attacks with smash art. The first hitbox lasts for 12 frames, and will push opponents into the second hit, making it amazing for punishing regular get-up attack, and roll get-up. It can also be a hard commitment against ledge jump. Down smash hits in front 3 times and twice behind. This smash attack is mostly only viable against regular get-up to shield, in which case if you aren't buster you'll always break a shield and kill. Down throw deals low damage but can set up for a few combos at low percentage unless they DI out. Of course in buster you can combo from low to mid percentage even more reliably no matter how they DI. It's also his strongest throw, killing the earliest at high percents. Up throw will also deal low damage, but can set up for juggle situations or potentially force double jumps from opponents at low to mid percents, as up tilt can punish attack or potentially frame trap some characters' air dodge. An even stronger frame trap is during jump. If you up throw at mid to high percents and buffer a forward air, it'll either hit or force an air dodge, which can be punished with a landing up air to forward smash. It is not safe at all at low percents with buster. However, in jump, you can true combo into air slash, and it sets up for a 50-50. Back throw deals a lot of damage, and is recommended if you have buster on, as it'll generally give Shulk stage control, allowing him to space them out with back airs and immediately force rolls and jumps. It also turns them around, so you could always punish with backslash if they jump and try fishing for something. Forward throw deals 1% less than back throw, and can be used once back throw is staled. Monado Art Landing Lag Cancel, or mk, is a technique that allows Shulk to cancel his landing lag by timing his art activation as he lands with an aerial or air dodge. Depending on how well timed the activation is, he can land with 0 frames of landing lag and use the 6 frames of intangibility of the Monado's art activation to avoid his opponent's attempted punish and retaliate. The perfect timing would be for the art to activate as soon as Shulk touches the ground. However, generally there are 2 different timings. Whiffing and hitting a shield has the same timing, while hitting the opponent has its own timing. This tech isn't just for landing with an aerial against shield, but can also be used as a safer way to land on stage from an air dodge, or extend combos. A really scary option is to down air the opponent hanging at the ledge while cancelling the landing lag with a mk smash art. The down air can scare them into quickly choosing an option, which might allow you to get a really hard punish with up smash. Monado Art Intangible Landing, or MAIL, is when the art activates before you even get to land. without throwing out any attack or air dodge, in which case Shulk will take advantage of the intangibility frames as he lands and is able to shield. Minato Art Run Cancel, or Mark, is basically using the art activation to interrupt Shulk's run animation into any input. Minato Art Buffer Deactivation, or MABD, is turning off the current art during an uninterruptible animation. For example, use the tilt while in speed art followed with mashing the deactivation during the end lag. And if you start walking at any point in the tilt's animation, you'll walk with speed art mobility. This carryover stat will last until you perform another action, much like a dash or a jump, but in these cases it lasts for a very short time. Combine this with Minato Art Landing Lag Cancel and you'll be able to perform some crazy combos. An interesting technique can be done by deactivating speed art during the end lag of an uninterruptible animation. Dash and jump cancel and up smash, which allows you to slide further than formerly trying it in speed art, since you're reverting the increased friction. Another effective technique can be done by deactivating jump art during the end lag of an uninterruptible animation, then beginning a short hop, full hop, or double jump, followed by an immediate airborne action such as an aerial or air dodge, to revert Minato Jump's higher fall speed while retaining its jump force, meaning it will basically soar even higher like this, than compared to jumping while the jump art is active. It can allow you to get back to the middle stage very safely by selecting jump art before grabbing the ledge. Immediately release the ledge while you keep holding back, and as soon as it activates, immediately buffer deactivate and quickly double jump in with air dodge to cross up opponents while facing them. This can also be used during an up throw at really high percents to reach even higher, and is referred to as Minato Purge. Minato Art Ledge Snap, or MELS, is a technique that allows Shulk to almost instantly get up from the ledge with intangibility. This can be done by selecting an art just as you grab the ledge. Tap back on the analog stick and double jump onto the stage with good timing. Vision Slide allows Shulk to counter while being able to control his movement. He can do an advancing counter, a fade out, or a retreating. This can be done by inputting vision on the exact frame that you land, or by inputting vision within Shulk's 12-frame turnaround animation, which means it also works during his dash dance or perfect pivot. Doing this with different arts active will affect the distance the vision slides. The final advanced tech is called Shadow Eye. This tech will allow you to extend your intangibility frames when they would normally end. This can only be done by landing on frame 8 of vision. If successful, the intangibility will last till the move is over, allowing you to shield immediately after or counterattack. Because of how unpredictable and confusing this tech is, opponents that don't realize whether or not Shadow Eye is being used might commit really hard to try punishing and fail, making them insecure about punishing any other attempts on vision that Shulk uses. There are many different ways to perform Shadow Eye, many of which can be found on the website Shulk 101. The next art of is going to be the last one for Smash 4. It's going to be the one character that I personally feel deserves it more than any other character. All the other characters on the voting list will be prioritized for the next game. So stay tuned, subscribe, and I hope you look forward to it. In the meantime, as you know, these videos take a lot of work and a lot of time to do, especially since I'm by myself. So if you can support me on Patreon, that'd be very, very helpful. I want to give a big thanks to Mace, Erico, Paradigm, and the rest of the Shulk Discord for helping me out with this project.